The action is script, I'd be untrue if for some too. Out all of cruel love, of conquest with time. But I remember leaning near the window, Pilsner and Clove. The party had been celebrating someone that we both love, and getting close to that song we both know. Oh, jukebox cutie playing around, silver necklace hanging down, thinking on what song might connect. What's your favorite? What's the best? Jukebox cutie, I'm seeing now, laughing cross-legged on a couch. I'm thinking on that song. Who am I to refuse a friend? The no sound of record needles descending. Who am I then in the end? If not a special friend, someone to sing with. Hey.
Hello, I'm DJ Gunthstar,
I'm DJ BlootScoot.
I'm DJ GeenLeen.
And
And-
RKO out of nowhere, it's DJ Gunthstar.
and you're listening to Lost in Translation.
That was some pretty epic ASMR, dude.
You just listened to Bridal Party with Jukebox.
Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? Does it sound ASMR?
I sang the song.
I'm just trying to figure out if this is how we do it.
Still don't know what song we listen to.
What song was that?
Jukebox Cutie by Bridal Party.
Jukebox cutie, got jukebox in my box.
Fun fact, we played that song on our very first radio show, Digging Deeper, for the very first episode, which has since been lost in time because I couldn't figure out how to work Audacity. That's pretty cringe.
That's pretty epic, bro.
Speaking of
pretty
cringe.
DJ Gunthstar, how are you doing? Speaking of cringe.
I brought it up too. I'm doing good. I've spent the last 2 days in your humble abode.
So I feel like you're one of the only people who's actually listened to the show.
I would disagree with that.
And in
I
the
mean,
last episode, I know you haven't listened to it yet because it hasn't been uploaded to YouTube. And I was here at 2 o'clock and you weren't listening to the show.
I'm working on it.
And I made fun of the listener, you, in that show. And this was
Your
my
goodness
redemption.
gracious.
This is my redemption episode.
Your redemption arc. Well, I'm glad to know that I'm on your mind at least.
You are.
But don't talk about people behind their back when they're physically going to hear what you talk about them.
That's true. I wasn't
That's
technically talking to the listener behind their back. I was making
Okay.
fun of them directly to their face.
Well, I would appreciate if you did that now instead.
Okay. Will do. Cringe Lord.
Got him.
Zing-a!
DJ Gunthstar, you've how have you enjoyed our selection of foreign films so far?
I would say that it's been very informative. I'm not someone who watches very many foreign films. The only thing I had seen prior to your radio show was Pan's Labyrinth. Even Parasite, I know I'm not cool enough to have watched the Oscar winner this year. But it's been fascinating to listen to.
So have you watched any of the movies that we've talked about besides Pan's Labyrinth?
I have watched Parasite since, but But other than that, I have not gotten around to it. The movie
Oh.
that you rated a 10 out of 10. I would you raised my expectations so high that I'm actually going to watch that film. I've ordered it from the library already.
Nice.
Now that is epic.
Incredible.
Look at this
I love
positive.
Blackburn.
Look at this positive change we're inciting in the world around us, all because of Lost in Translation.
You could say that you're changing the world.
What starts here does change the world. That's what they tell me.
True.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah, but
So, what about Cutie Jukebox?
Jukebox
Okay.
cutie.
I have dyslexia. Things get mixed around.
what about it? Oh,
Oh no,
yeah.
I thought it was a
What do you-
rather good song.
What are your thoughts on that? Getting into today's topic.
Getting into today's topic, I would say that I'm glad you chose that song in particular, because the first words of that song talk about how the person is cool and on time, and you know who else are always cool and always on time? The Germans, and that's where
not-
we're going today on Lost in Translation.
Not Lola.
Yeah,
Not
Lola was
Lola.
not on time.
Lola was
not
on
on
time twice. She was on time 2 times.
2 out of 3.
Ruby.
2 out of 3 ain't
Ruby.
bad.
66. You know, it's a D.
It's almost passing.
It's almost
If
passed.
your professor likes you enough, you can round that up to a passing grade.
What is
Dr.
that
Lou, I'm
supposed to
looking at
mean,
you.
DJ? What's that supposed to mean, DJ GeenLeen?
Nothing. Mom and
Wink.
Dad, I am actually not failing a class right now, just so you know. Please do not get afraid. I'm doing fine. Sort of.
So you actually picked this movie out for us, and you said you'd seen it before.
I did say that indeed. It had been
So do you
a
want to
very
give us? You want to give us the plot, a little plot
of course
rundown?
I'd be happy to give you the plot.
I
This
don't think you've said the name of the film yet.
Oh,
Run Lola Run. Yes. So the plot of Run Lola Run centers around a woman, our titular character, running through the streets of Germany because her dumb butt of a boyfriend lost 100,000 German marks that they got from a diamond heist. And he left them on a train because he's an idiot. And he calls up his girlfriend of 1 year, Lola, and says, well, if I don't get this money by 12 o'clock, my boss is going to murder me. What am I going to do? So it is up to our female protagonist, Lola, to save Manny by getting him his money. Anyway, so yeah, that's the story. And this movie isn't afraid to break conventional narrative storytelling because our main character, in fact, does not succeed and in the end gets shot on accident by a police officer. And basically, she just says, I don't want to be shot. So the movie rewinds, giving her another chance. In the second time, she succeeds, but Manny, again, the idiot that he is, gets run over by an ambulance unceremoniously. Another failure, prompting another retry until finally things go right for our main characters. And not only do they walk away with both their lives, but they also walk away with an extra 100,000 German marks.
Isn't it actually like 3,000?
No, she bet 3,500 German marks.
Yeah.
So it is assumed that she got over 100,000 German marks, considering she started with 100, which went up to 3,500.
Yeah.
She actually made 129,600 marks.
Okay. Our man out here with the calculations.
Yeah. That's a good amount of monies.
So,
So
they're set
it's
for a little while.
Yeah, it's interesting. Before we booted up the movie, even I said that this movie has a bit of a video game feel. And it wasn't until about 20 minutes ago before DJ BlootScoot brought up some trivia that might explain why that is. DJ BlootScoot?
Oh yes, that the film was the initial inspiration for the 3-day cycle in The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. So yeah, it actually did have an impact on some of the games that we grew up with.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I found that really interesting because Legend of Zelda, especially Majora's Mask, is such like a big, memorable game that I feel like, I don't know, it was really cool to see that like link back in, for me at least.
No. I mean, I just said it in passing because, she respawns when she dies, but to actually know that it had an impact in video games was rather interesting.
It was a good movie.
So Manny. Let's talk Manny. What did Manny do wrong? And what did Manny do right?
He should have bought a train ticket.
He should have bought a train ticket.
He should not have run off the train and left 100,000 marks for a random guy to pick up on the train. I feel because it's really weird because he calls her and he's freaking out. He's like, I have 20 minutes to deliver 100,000 marks to my boss. And he's like, I saw the police going on the train, so I was like, I gotta get out of here. But somehow he forgets that he's supposed to be carrying 100,000 marks. I don't know. That seemed very. I think that's why we're talking about Manny and not being very kind to him because it seems very. I don't know.
Well,
He
not
also
very
got
smart.
run over by an ambulance with blaring sirens. So
I
luckily
don't know
for
if that's his fault though.
Lola not only runs, but she also protects.
she do be.
That was a
protecting
review
them.
on Letterboxd that I read.
That's
Manny,
a pretty epic review.
Kind of the reason that I picked this movie, as opposed to the other one, DJ Gunthstar often.
Yes. Something I would like to talk about. Obviously, this movie has everything to do with time. From the introductory scene, heavily following that eerie cuckoo clock. But the most interesting part of the whole time aspect to me was as Lola runs past people, we get glimpses of their past or their future. And each of those glimpses changes depending on which event it is. So,
Do you think
You
that
could-
do you think that the person who was making the film was somebody who believed in the butterfly effect and wanted to kind of portray that, or do you think that that was just something they wanted to do to show, or do you think it's a little not like that?
Yeah, I think
I
it's
think
definitely the butterfly effect.
yes, even if
'Cause
he
it's like-
didn't believe in it, I do believe he expertly portrayed it. Because her actions in this one day led to that one lady. We saw two different realities. One in the first time that the movie goes over its events, where she ends up taking her own life in the flashback, but then in the last one, she ends up becoming a nun. So,
And in the
crazy
middle
how
one,
things can play out.
she gets she becomes rich, right?
I believe so. She wins the lottery. Yeah.
Yeah, there was another one who she won the lottery, and then there's another one where she just I don't know, it was kind of weird. She just kind of lives with her child. It made it seem like she kidnapped a kid.
It did. Yeah. That was
That's
the
kind of the
weirdest.
feeling I got from that one. But
Yeah,
then the next time she won the lottery, it was really weird.
Yeah, it was weird because this woman was had a stroller with a baby in it, and the first time they passed, it looked like she had kidnapped that baby. So I don't know.
Wait, why
It's a
did it look
German
like
film.
that?
Well,
Because
when the pictures, so basically when she touches somebody or goes past somebody and interacts with them, it does like a really quick it makes like photo sounds and it kind of snaps through some snapshots. And the first time she runs into the stroller lady, which is the first person she interacts with, she has a kid and she's like doing stuff with the kid, but then she's like in a park and she like grabs a kid out of a stroller and then she's like smiling and looking at the camera. It's really weird. And I thought that was maybe her abducting a kid or kidnapping. And I was kind of confused.
that was kind of my interpretation as well. But I don't know.
I don't even remember
Yeah.
that.
There were weirder flashbacks than kidnapping, I would say. The bank teller. I think we all remember the bank teller.
What was? Oh. Oh. Oh.
Ooh. Hey, at least he had a happy ending.
Is that
He
the
had
same?
something.
Did the bank teller, was that the same one who also in another lifetime got married to the assistant?
No,
I've-
the bank teller only had one flashback, and that was where he got married to the assistants, and it showed their relationship.
Oh, I thought it was. No, I
Maybe
think
think
there were
about the
two
bike
sets.
guy.
No, I
You're
think
thinking of the
I
bike
think
guy.
the assistant had a flashback where they got married, and then the bank teller.
Oh,
had a flashback.
You're
Maybe
right.
you're
You're
right.
right. You're right. No, he's
But I
right.
think they did take place in different timelines.
I can't
But I
remember.
might be mistaken.
are they flashbacks or flash
So
Or
Adam
they
or
forward.
DJ Gunthstar, seeing this on a second time, did you notice anything?
Seeing this for a second time, let's see. I need to reflect. I did notice more things than the first time I watched it, because that's just how it is. The main thing I noticed was that I wasn't paying attention to first is in the very, very beginning of the film, right as Lola learns that she needs to go run and to help her boyfriend, she starts going through everybody in her head who might be able to help her, and she settles on her father. And her father is a bank manager, and so she goes to him for the money. Suffice to say, that the father does not willingly help his daughter in any of the realities. But in that scene where she's going through all the people in her head and she settles on her father, the father just sort of shakes his head and gives a look, which, it obviously means wrong choice, but we don't know how wrong that choice is until the second and third. Actually, no, all of them. So in the first playthrough, she learns that her father is cheating on her mother and disowns the family to start a new one. That's a pretty rough day. Shaking his head for that. On the second one, Lola steals the firearm of a security officer and threatens him at gunpoint and takes the money for herself. Not great for the father. And on the third one, it is actually alluded that the father dies in a car crash. So it really was not a bright decision for her to go and talk with her papa.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice that, but thinking back, I kind of remember that. So it's an interesting take, or an interesting detail.
I also didn't notice the first time I watched through that the mother is also cheating on the father. Because Lola starts in her house, and as she runs out of the apartment, her mother is on the phone, and she's talking about how, of course I'm married, but so are you. And so it's obviously not a great relationship.
Because I remember in the first run, the person that her father's cheating with talks about how her mother is a alcoholic, and she's like always drunk. And then I didn't notice until the second time she runs past it, she's like drinking in the middle of the day, and she's got like a whole bunch of empty like glasses and all that stuff, like she's been drinking all day. And I was like, oh, so she is an alcoholic. It's not something I noticed the first time, but then it's kind of like, oh, okay, I see that is 100%. So obviously her home life isn't very good.
Yeah.
Which is probably why she got into crime in the first place.
Probably.
DJ BlootScoot, do we have any other trivia?
Oh, yes. The music video for "It's My Life" by Bon Jovi was inspired by the film.
No way. That's incredible. That's a genuine reaction.
Yeah.
Dude,
What
I love
song
Bon
is that
Jovi.
from Bon Jovi?
I'm not going to sing it because I'm tone deaf, but it's a fantastic
Yeah,
one.
please sing it.
It's my life.
And
I don't
it's
know. I don't know
now
anything other
or
than that.
never. I ain't gonna live forever. That's the one.
Incredible.
That's the whole song right there.
That's the whole song. I mean,
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
Bon Jovi sang it worse than me, but you know,
The listeners probably heard it before.
yeah.
Probably. I feel like that's a pretty well-known song. I don't know.
I
don't
don't know.
You could call me musically inclined.
That was very interesting. That's all I have left for trivia. The
So this
video
movie,
game.
This movie seems like it was very influential on popular
was.
culture.
It was.
Yeah,
For an indie film, it certainly was, because this wasn't made by any big producer.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
it certain yeah.
A lot of indie films find pretty big standings in popular culture. Like,
so.
Let's think of one.
What was the question?
An indie film.
Oh, an indie film.
I can't think of one.
They don't exist.
Most of the
this
things
is
at
the
the
only
Oscars.
indie film.
I know one.
Room.
You ever heard of this tiny little? It's pretty small. You probably wouldn't know it. It's called Star Wars.
Oh.
You probably wouldn't have heard of it.
No, I've never heard of that. Could you?
Okay, basically, it's about this war that's going on in the stars. It's pretty epic. You should check it out.
That's crazy.
I've heard of it, but I've only seen the director's cut. Insert
director name.
This is kind of unrelated. Have you guys seen the meme that's like, this might just be very niche to me. Have you guys seen the meme of like viewing Shrek in black and white and in French?
No.
No, I have not.
Okay.
Was that the entire that was the entire question?
I mean, it's just like people who are like, oh, you really gotta like, you really have to experience Shrek. And then they're like, you have to.
I think that would be better for a French film.
Yeah, I know, it would have been a better French film.
Okay, hear me out, DJ Gothunk. We go back to France and we watch Shrek, but in French and black and white.
I'm actually looking at next week's movie, and I think we are going back to France.
Ooh.
But I don't know. We might be going
Sacre bleu.
I think it's in French. I don't know.
Or
oui, as they say.
What are we watching next week?
We're watching The Brand New Testament.
The Brand New Testament?
I'm very excited.
As a Christian, I would love to see that.
It's probably sacrilegious.
But you know, those European heretics.
Really funny. It looks really funny.
Oh boy.
Ooh, it's from Belgium.
I've been really excited to see it.
It's from Belgium.
Well, your one listener will love to see it.
Yes.
Because I looked up the title and it said French.
Yeah, they're in Belgium. They speak French and Dutch.
Okay. Well,
so it's 50-50.
There's another theme in Run Lola Run that I would like to discuss. And that is the theme of where there is death, there will always be death. Because in the film, I don't know if you notice this, but 2 people always die. In every reality, 2 people die. You get in the first one, Lola and the security guard in the grocery store trying to stop them from robbing it. In the second reality, the bank security, yes. So yeah, I should explain. There's a security guard. Lola's pretty intense. And she gives a man a heart attack just by looking at him in 2 of the 3 days that this movie goes over. And the first time it happens, we don't know that he is dying.
You mean the bank security guard?
Did I not say the bank security guard?
I thought you meant you
meant the groceries. I think you said the grocery store security
the grocery store security guard and Lola die the first day. The second day, Manny and the bank security guard die. And then in the third day, the only 2 people who die are Lola's father and his business associate. So no matter what happens, death is the only constant. And where there is death, there will always be death. You can only choose who lives and dies.
That's an interesting.
That is
sentiment.
very interesting.
Mhm.
That was definitely something you asked earlier. Something I didn't get on the first watching, because we see that ambulance 3 times throughout the movie, but its sirens are only on twice in the second and third day, and that is because on the second and third day, Lola gives the man a heart attack. But on the third day, she actually hops in the ambulance and comforts him as he's going into cardiac arrest. And oh my goodness gracious, maybe they have different CPR rules in
Oh
Europe.
yeah.
But that man was terrible. Not only was he giving CPR to a man who had a erratic but still had a heartbeat, his tempo was off. He wasn't giving rescue breaths, and his arms weren't straight. I mean, he couldn't save anyone's life. As a lifeguard, DJ Gunthstar here, Garden Lives, that man was giving completely ineffectual
Care.
CPR.
As a Boy Scout, that is not Boy Scout approved. CPR.
Indeed.
Oh, I'm
The
an
young-
Eagle Scout. Ooh.
The Young Men's
Oi!
Christian Association will not support such behavior. He'd be fired.
Well, I think we're wrapping up, but I think we just have a little bit of time for everyone to give a rating. So,
rating.
does anybody want to start?
I'll start. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a
Nice.
very solid film. GeenLeen?
I probably would have rated it like a 6, but after discussion, I realized that it's a lot like deeper than I originally understood, and maybe a lot of parts I wouldn't have gotten until the second viewing, as DJ Gunthstar said. So I'd say probably like a 7, maybe 7.5. It was a good one.
I would give it a 7 out of 10.
I got to stand with my man DJ BlootScoot here. I'm going to give it an 8 as well.
Nice.
It definitely did improve upon the second viewing.
Well,
Very epic.
DJ Gunthstar, thank you for joining us this week.
Yes,
And
Thank you for having me back.
Thank you for the selection.
Yes, and thank you for being a loyal listener too. We appreciate it.
You can't stop me even if you try.
Hey, my redemption episode over. I love you, DJ Gunthstar, and loyal listener.
Consider yourself redeemed.
Goodbye.